And then after you've got it together, then I'm going to teach you how to have a little conversation with your card and create a poem that it's called Pantune poem. That question mark might say, I have many questions, or what the hell, yeah, what the hell? So that could be phrase one, what the hell? And then the second phrase could be, it's all about the roses.
Think deeply about this.
Yeah.
Yes. Whatever comes.
You can think deeply, or you can think spontaneously.
Okay, however.
Because it's all gonna come from the unconscious. The clarity of what you're talking about will come out in the poem. That's pretty.
Question mark. The background is kind of a European river cruise thing. I've got kind of a forest and some shrimp scampi.
All right.
And roses, a cat, and this is kind of a scraggly bush coming up out of rock. So my poem is called The Journey. You have many questions in life. You are slowly emerging from a rocky soil. Take the time to explore and experience this wonderful planet. Beauty is all around. You are slowly emerging from a rocky soil. Cherish the little things, animals, flowers, great food and drink. Beauty is all around. Let the waters soothe your questioning mind. Cherish the little things, animals, flowers, great food and drink. The forest is your cathedral. Go there often. Let the waters soothe your questioning mind. There is still much to learn and discover. The forest is your cathedral. Go there often. Take time to explore and experience this wonderful planet. There is still much to learn and discover. You have many questions in life.
Wow.
Very nice. And I will be your service leader for this morning. I would like to welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Rappahannock, where all are welcome. We're so glad that you've joined us this morning, this beautiful spring morning, to celebrate Poetry Month. Announcements are listed in front of your order of service. A special welcome this morning to any visitors, and I don't think we have any, but if you are, hope you will join us after the service for coffee and refreshments. As we gather in this sacred space, let the flame of inspiration ignite our hearts. We kindle the chalice, symbol of our faith, a beacon for seekers, poets, and dreamers. From the well of creativity, we draw words like petals falling from the sky, each verse a prayer, each stanza a hymn, unfolding the mysteries of our souls. Let this flame illuminate our verses, illuminate the shadows within and without. For poetry is our communion, our offering, a bridge between the mundane and the divine. May the muses dance upon our tongues, may metaphors bloom like wildflowers, and may our hearts echo the rhythm of life. We celebrate Poetry Sunday, blessed and free. So be it. Our opening words this morning were a beginner's guide to reading and loving poetry, written by Emily McGowan. When I began writing poetry as a pre-training, I invested my allowance in a rhyming dictionary. I rhymed the words love and above more often than I'd like to admit. And occasionally there was a dove thrown in there. I put my whole heart into poems I can only laugh about today. I am amused and the heart and warm of my complexity I was trying to express as a 10-year-old vocabulary. As I grew and my language developed further, I began reading the poetry my teachers fed to me in high school. Enchanted by the depths of Shakespeare and Emily Dickinson, I wanted more. But reading poetry outside of the structured academic space proved complicated for me. How do you read, enjoy, analyze, and remember the pieces you most love? Do you read 10 poems at once in rapid succession, one at a time? Do you have to sit in a velvet housecoat surrounded by mahogany bookshelves and a crackling fire to be considered someone who reads poetry? How do you even start? There is no proper way to start, says Padraig Otama, host of Poetry Unbound, a poetry podcast. He says poetry is a vast ocean. In fact, it's multiple vast oceans, and each ocean has thousands of beaches leading into it. Nobody will ever know everything about all the poetry. So if you're interested, start where you are.
Used if you have a collection of them, they can be considered a resource card for you. So if you are, when we go into stress, we have a tendency to forget what our resources are. And if you have this collection of cards and you can kind of go through them, you can you can recall what the card symbolizes, some aspect of you, some just some inner wisdom that you have, and they can be used if you're working in groups. That they can be, we can do like a card reading where you have a problem that you want to solve, or you're trying to overcome a stuck spot, and you draw from your deck of cards, and then there's a whole nother series of questions that a partner would ask you, and there becomes the conversation around wherever you're stuck, whatever the card is that you pull that represents an inner resource or inner wisdom. And it sometimes helps you unearth some options that maybe you hadn't considered before. So that's a very powerful process, and really, I think, a very therapeutic process. But it's when the cards become a tool. Pantone poem. Well, Pantone poems were something that Carol Burke shared with me, but it's a form of poetry that has been around since, I don't know, the beginning of poetry writing, I guess. And there are some really beautiful ones that you can find if you Google Pantone poems. And I'm sure there are other ways of writing them, but this is the way I was taught. But before I read the poem, Dawn, you want to just show people your card and tell them a little bit about what was going on when you made the card?
Yeah, okay. I took a picture from a magazine of Savannah, Georgia. And what I remember about Savannah when I was there is how hot it was. Mm-hmm. And this picture of the sunstorms, or whatever they call them, going on, and the door, it's a window actually, it's a window there. And I don't know if I can explain anything about the window. It's the...
Well, we can see what comes out in the poem. You want to pass your card around?
Yeah.
It's very hot here. The green things seem not to care. Branches point to everywhere. The squirrels find themselves anywhere. The green things seem not to care. The birds look on with nonchalance. The squirrels find themselves anywhere. Spider webs weave slowly into the warm air. While birds look on with nonchalance. In the sky, the jets weave the world together. Spider webs weave slowly into the warm, wet air, in accordance with unwritten laws. In the sky, the jets weave the world together. Branches point to everywhere, in accordance with the written laws. It's very hot here.
That is great. You are a wordsmith.
Isn't that amazing?
Our reading this morning is from Gordon McKeeman. We summon ourselves. We summon ourselves from the demands and delights of the daily round, from the dirty dishes and the unwaxed floors, from the unmowed grass and the untrimmed bushes, from all the incompleted and the not yet started, from the unholy and the unresolved. We summon ourselves to attend to our vision of peace and justice, of cleanliness and health, of delight and devotion, of the lovely and the holy, and of who we are and what we can do. We summon the power of tradition and the exhilaration of newness, the wisdom of the ages and the knowing of the very young. We summon beauty, eloquence, poetry, music to be the bearers of our dreams. We open our eyes, our ears, our minds, our hearts to the amplest dimensions of life. We rejoice in manifold promises and possibilities. Please join me in silent meditation. Instead of a speaker and discussion this morning, we'll have members of our congregation share poems or tell us stories about what poetry means to them. I have an interesting fact for you. Who was the first known poet? She was the first author to be named in all recorded history. The Mesopotamian poet, princess, and priestess, Edamama, something like that, Edamama. Are you surprised? When people ask who is the first author, they never guess anyone from Mesopotamia, and never that it's a woman. I'll start us off this morning with a poem that I memorized in grade school. Couldn't do it from memory today, as part of a University Interscholastic League contest. I went across it in the book of 101 famous poems as I was looking for something to read today. And I felt that it appropriately gave the feeling of how we are as Unitarians. It's A House by the Side of the Road by Sam Walter Foss. There are hermit souls who live withdrawn in the place of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in the fellowless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze the paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in a house by the side of the road where the wraith of men go by, the men who are good, the men who are bad, as good and as bad as I. I will not sit in the scorner's seat, nor hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope, the men who are faint with strife. But I turn not away from their smiles and tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brook-gladdened meadows ahead and mountains of wearisome height, and that the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. And still I rejoice where the travelers rejoice and weep with the strangers that moan, nor live in my house by the side of the road like a man who dwells alone. Let me live in my house by the side of the road where the race of the men go by. They are good, they are bad, they are weak, they are strong, wise, foolish, so am I. Then why should I sit in the scorner's seat and hurl the cynic? Let me live in the house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. And now we will hear from some of the members. Let's start with Paula. For those of you coming up, be careful because the water is over on this side.
Yep. Give me a minute, I have to bring this up on my phone, hopefully. This is by Maya Angelou. It's not exactly subtle, but I don't think she felt that she could be subtle. Being a Black female, living in the United States, and I think it applies to all women, not just Black women. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with glue? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like the moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Whoops. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
For years we did own a corgi, and the fun thing about corgi is when they walk away from you, they have a heart-shaped butt that waddles. Paddleboarding gives me peace. I love both the mountains and the water. The sunflowers are beautiful, and they're a symbol of hope and remind us of Ukraine. And over here I've got the light against the dark in contrast, and below that there is light seeping onto the forest floor, and I got a little yogi over here in the corner. So number one is from the picture of the corgi, and that's my poem starts, source of unconditional love, dog, God. Irrepressible joy in the waddle of a corgi butt. A sunflower, symbol of hope. Mountains and a body of calm water both mean peace. Alert eyes radiate joy. Yoga means union, mind, body, and spirit. Calm water, a paddle board of peace. Dark and light are both, holding one another in dawn. That's fine.
Killer, that is dawn or dusk, when light turns to dark. And I put on a cat because I love cats. And the ground is above and below, so there's images of what's up. There's a funky sun, and down below a crab's claw and an egg. So my poem is, it cannot read as well as it does. A positive in my life, odd as it is, the sun is a cushion for me. Hidden threat, what lies below. Odd as it is, the sun is a cushion for me. By its movement benefits soil, what lies below. Time of transition, light to dark. By its movement benefits soil, alive or dead, nourishes. Time of transition, light to dark, potential. Alive or dead, nourishes. Hidden threat, potential, a positive in my life. Deep.
Text this morning from Susan Mosley. It says, I hope Poetry Sunday goes well. So she's still with us. And now Marlon has one.
Well, I decided to share a few words from Emily Dickinson from William Loose's play, The Belle of Amherst, because I think it shows a side of her that many people don't get when they're reading her poetry or when they were first taught about her, which I was, and she was the old spinster in the attic. Do you know that every one of you is to me a poem? You and you, each one a rare creation. I suppose that is why I love you and you love me, whether you realize it or not. You see, I discovered that secret a long time ago about the souls of people. And I thought that being a poem oneself precluded the writing of a poem. Oh, but I saw my mistake. The poet lights the lamp and then goes out himself. But the light, oh, it goes on and on. Essences are labeled for immortality. If I could stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I could ease one life aching or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Father's house and my garden, this was my world, and for my companions I had the hills and the sundowns. Oh, and my dog Carlos, large as myself, that my father bought me. Oh, then they're better than human beings, because they know but don't tell. You see, I never had to go anywhere to find my paradise. It was all right here in the only world I ever wanted. Paradise is no journey, for it's within. You see, I travel that road into my soul all the time. You know, I had wanted to become famous at one time. Going to be famous. Well, if fame belonged to me, I couldn't escape her. The longest day would have chased me. So perhaps my barefoot rank is better. Like the warbler I found on the bush at the foot of the garden. Why sing, I said, since nobody listens? Oh, it's my business to sing, and away he rose. Well, it's my business to sing. What difference does it make if no one listens? Oh, perhaps you laugh at me. Perhaps the whole United States is laughing at me, but I can't stop for that. Don't you see, just to be made alive? Well, that is so cheap a thing. All else inevitably adds. I find ecstasy in living. The mere sense of living is joy enough. Oh, take all away from me, but leave me ecstasy. You see, my poems were my letters to the world that never wrote to me. The tender news that nature told with tender majesty. Her message is committed to hands I cannot see. For love of her, sweet countrymen, judge tenderly of me.
Well, we didn't know we had a lesbian in our midst. Wonderful, wonderful. And now, Helen.
What a pleasure listening to these poems. They're so beautiful. So I would like to read a poem that I wrote after one of the UUFR Zoom meetings. And it was in response to one of the topics I think that Susan Mosley brought up, or maybe it was Jill and Rich, but it was while Susan was still here. Time. There is a way to float in salt river on your back, buoyed over depths, while you lie beneath sky dome infinity, while below you flow mystery-rich currents. You might recall dolphins who swam near you, or flee from memories of senile caresses, those effervescent stings you recall so often you came to fear brushing harmless comb jellies, or learn to dodge the touch of drifting grasses. Yet there's a way to know your own shadow as it casts shade for swimming minnows. There is a way to float in a present layer with your past below you and future beyond ken above you as you lie buoyed in between air and water, between future and past, aware of vast unknowables.
This is called Love Song. My own dear love, he's strong and he's bold, and he cares not what comes after. His words ring sweet as a ring of gold, and his eyes are lit with laughter. He's jubilant as a flag unfurled. Oh, girl, shall not forget him. My own dear love, he's all my world. And I wish I'd never met him.
It come to me to just right now that those are crocuses, but what I saw was spring flowers on my background. I have an eagle here carrying a stick, or, well, in my thing, he's carrying the stick. The dove of peace, just a happy face, a beach, one of my favorite places to be. The alcohol kind of, the drink representing sort of my past freedom, the beauty of inner renewal, sharing the branch of peace with my past, always in my beach happy place, the beauty of inner renewal, happiness lights up my face, always in my beach happy place, heading out away from negativity, happiness lights up my face, loving a simple life, heading out away from negativity, letting go, loving a simple life, sharing the branch of peace with my past, letting go, building my nest of freedom.
Wow.
It works, Diana.
I'm all confused now. I don't know what I did, but I think my card represents what is, what has been, and what may be. So I have, the main thing, I have this older woman in the middle here laughing out, crazy laughing. Okay? But I have Lady Liberty over here. And I have Italy, a picture of Italy. And American Indian mask and a kachina. And this is, it's on a garden background. And this is the Amalfi Coast
Nice.
Where's the Amalfi Coast?
in Italy.
Italy.
So, and I don't like my poem. It needs a lot of work, but I've tried to edit it. It says, I think if I can read it, happy place, my garden, laughter, my medicine, liberty, salvation, American Indian spirits, laughter is medicine. Go to India. American Indians inspire. The Amalfi Coast, go to India. Thrive on color. The Amalfi Coast is calling. Life has been good to me. Thrive on color. Liberty, salvation. Life has been good to me. My garden is my happy place. That was so nice.
I will go. And I didn't get the memo about don't use words in your collage. My words on my collage say Miss Africa, a twist on the traditional, and a world of exotic shapes, textures, and colors. But those don't count. I have a picture of a woman looking into the distance. My backpack allows me to go lightly and to clock a timepiece, because you'll see later in the day how I'm very driven by numbers and time and getting things done. I call my poem, Let's Go There. International travel suits me. Where will you go next? Time doesn't stand still for anyone, whatever the weather. Where will you go next? Ready for anything, anywhere, whatever the weather, for the textures and colors. Ready for anything, anywhere. Grab your bag and go, for the textures and colors. Africa calls me. Grab your bag and go. Time does not stand still for anyone. Africa calls me. International travel suits me. Well, that sounds just like you.
I want to go.
Last evening, someone asked me, I said, oh, I'm living in Whitestone. And she said, oh, is that permanent for you? And I said, nothing's permanent for me.
So there are two poems that usually reside on a refrigerator, and I'm going to read one, Buddy will read the other. The Invitation, the Uriah Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for. And if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, for the adventures of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring in your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your very own sorrow. If you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear and further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, or remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another by being true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your soul. I want to know if you can be faithful and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day. And if you can source your life from God's presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours or mine, and still stand on the edge of a lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up night after night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone,
and do what needs to be done for the children. It doesn't interest me who you are or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
You might have to come up and finish this one. All right. All right, you guys may remember this one. Originally in the 1920s. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. And I find it really good to close my eyes when I read this. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially, do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity, and I don't pronounce that word, aridity, in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years. Gracefully surrender the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy.
Leah, do you want to?
You want to do your last one? All right, I'm just gonna bring a microphone.
I don't know why, but this is my granddaughter's favorite one, and it's called Ben. They hail you as their morning star because you are the way you are. If you return the sentiment, then they'll try to make it different. And once they have you safe and sound, they'll want to change you all around. Your moods and ways, they put a curse on. They make of you another person. They cannot let you go your way. They influence, they try anyhow. They influence and educate. They later, all that they admire, they make me sick. They make me tired.
Distinguish the chalice with the words of Amy Zucker Morgenstern. May all our hours together be blessed as this one has been, by open-hearted sharing, learning from one another, and making beautiful harmonies together. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship until we meet again. Our closing words are that new poem that I promised you that felt good about how we are at UUFR. In the sanctuary of open hearts, where dogmas yield to gentle arts, liberal religion unfurls its wings, a tapestry woven of myriad things. No rigid creeds confine the soul, no ancient text dictate the goal. Instead, we seek a boundless grace, embracing love in every sacred space. The pulpit echoes with compassion's plea, as seekers gather, hearts set free. For here, belief is not a rigid mode, but a garden where diverse truths unfold. We honor reason, science, and doubt, and let empathy guide us throughout. In this sanctuary of questioning minds, liberal religion blooms and binds. We celebrate love's inclusive dance, welcoming all regardless of chance. For every soul, a unique song in this congregation where we belong. So raise your voice, let kindness soar. In the chapel of wonder, we explore. Liberal religion, a beacon bright, guiding us toward love's eternal light. That was written by Copilot, an AI system. When I asked the question, write me a poem about liberal religion. May it be so.